Hi, Kevin here with Turn 5 Fabrication, and today we're going to build a fan shroud for this radiator. So come check out what we've got. We're going to be running 2 of these Mishimoto fans, and I've already went ahead and bent up a test piece of how we're going to do this. So this is 080 aluminum. What we're going to do is we're going to make a lip and another lip with a flat surface, and we're going to put that foam right along the bottom there. So when it sits down on the fins, it's got a nice cushion to it. It's not going to sit there and rub through the the fins of the radiator or anything. So let's get started. So I'm drawing up the radiator shroud of how I want to do it. We're going to start by measuring the radiator. Inside the inside we have 13 5/8, so we'll just call it 13 1/2. It'll give us a little bit more space. And then we're going to do inside the inside long ways, and we've got 23 1/4. And then we're going to go to the outside and add for the mounting points. And then our mounting tabs here, we've got 9 inches outside to outside. Just start on an even number. So 2 to 9 7/8, so that's 7 7/8 center to center. The same thing across. So that's 27 5/8, so we'll put 25 5/8. So like I said, I've got a test piece here of how we're going to do this. So you've got about a 1/4 inch spacing here and a 1/2 inch spacing here. So we're going to add on another inch to this. So we'll call it 1/2 inch, and we'll call it 1/2 inch because the radius of the bend is going to reflect some of that. We're actually going to go 23 1/4 just to get our inside the inside, and then on the drawing I'll add this excess mounting points. So let's go ahead and draw it up. So being that I don't have CAD software at the shop, we are going to be drawing this up on Inkscape. And the width of it is going to be 23 1/4. And the height, we're going to have our 13 1/2. We're going to have our +1 and a +1 for the bottom, +1 for the top. So we're going to have 15 1/2. So now what I'm going to do is make a secondary one. And we're actually going to change the height to 13 1/2. Center these two up. So this square gives us the green square rectangle here gives us our dimension of the radiator itself. And so we're going to take this. This is an easy way to make some bends. If you put these spikes on here, I say spikes, you'll see what we're doing. So we just want to get those corners all lined up, move those in, and I'll change these to red. And you can see here that red is overlapping our blue, which is the shroud that we're making. So that point to the other point here, that's where we're going to make our bend at and give us the dimension of the radiator. And I'm probably elaborating on this way too much. So we're going to make all those one, and then we'll select our inside square and subtract them. Now you can see that notch that we have there. That's where that's going to tell us where to bend this at. I just went ahead and drew this up. It was taking forever for me to try to do it on camera. It would have made this video an hour long, but it only took me about 20 minutes or so. So there's our fan shroud outside with our mounting tabs and the red dots. And so what we're going to do is trace up the fans and go ahead and cut the circles out for those. So here's our final flat surface layout for the fan shroud. I've already put it in the sheet cam, made the G-code file, had a couple little pieces here that they don't really matter much. We just ignored those. Got it loaded. We've got our material loaded, and we are ready to cut. we finally have our piece. So we'll go ahead and clean up the backside and deburr it all and get it bent up. We're gonna go ahead and use our deburr tool, clean up these outside edges. Now that we've got it all cleaned up, let's go bend it. This is where those marks come in handy with lining up, so we don't have to sit there and measure with a Sharpie. And all it took us was a few seconds. The shroud sits a little high on the radiator, which is okay. We've got less than an inch of space there. So what we're gonna do on these edges here is we're gonna run down, and we got a 1/2 inch gap all the way around, and we are gonna take and cut a piece of filler that runs the whole length of this to help us fill that empty airspace in with. If I could fucking talk today. I cut out some of these end wings here. That's what we'll call it. We'll go ahead and line it up right on the edge, which is, it's got a 1/2 inch from that edge to the outer edge, from the point to the outer edge. You know, I'm doing really well for not saying all the time, which is a big problem that I have. Let's go see how it fits. These are just gonna fit inside of here, just like that. And we could either leave it as a bolt-in part that gets sandwiched, but we'll probably go ahead and just weld these in. You can see the underside there, that gap is filled in. So now that we've got our ends welded up, we ground them down just for clearances. It's time to fit it and fasten it. Just make sure it fits one last time before we move forward. Everything's tight, that gap's filled in. So what we're gonna be using, these are called riv nuts. What it is a threaded insert. When compressed in a hole, it mushrooms out and creates a tight area to fasten to. But our holes are a little bit too small. Put these in there like so. Press it down all the way, and then just thread it out. I'm using a drill bit slightly smaller than the riv nut itself because we want to ensure a tight fit. Okay, so now that we've got our fans set on here, we're going to go ahead and we got them evenly spaced around the holes, evenly spaced from the edge, and we are going to go ahead and mark the marks and drill them out. So because our fans are so thick, we can come in through the backside with the rib nut, and I don't want to protrude the rib nut in towards the radiator, so we're just going to pop these from the inside out. You can see there how it sits. So now that we've got our fans fitted, I'll let you come take a look at this. You can see it's pretty well nice and secured. We're gonna go ahead and, we've got some brand new hardware here. We're gonna go ahead and put some thread lock, just to keep them from coming loose. We're going to give them a quick tighten. We don't have any bolts poking through the backside. So now we're ready to go ahead and put on our weather tape and do a final install. Alright, here we go. This is the final install of the fan shroud. We're going to go ahead and make some spacers to fill up that gap there. But yeah, should suck some air pretty good.